What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the Boston Clinic. Shout out to the LDBC and YTBC. We working. And we did a live video earlier. Hopefully I'm able to get a chance to do another one later on tonight. But we talked about, you go back and watch this, the last video I probably dropped before I dropped this one, about, will there be a undisputed linear welterweight champion at 147 with Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, Danny Garcia, basically with the mainstays being there right now. So, will the undisputed champion have to go through some of those guys and get an opportunity to go through some of those guys to become champion? And we entered a very different viewpoint. Me and the brothers that was on, shout out to them, a different viewpoint on why that fight, why that won't happen. I mean, for one, we got into the fact that that they having a hard time getting Keith Thurman in the ring with Errol Spence. So how can we even enter Terence Crawford into the equation? All right, second is business. We're gonna mainstay. We're gonna get into business right here. You a businessman, okay? You've been sued by this guy Bob Arum with another guy that has that Harvard connection. Now that Harvard connection is very, very deep, and he got sued by Oscar Al Heyman. He got sued by Bob Arum. He almost got sued. I think he got sued by Main Events. All types of things happened to him. He beat the case. The only case he really didn't beat was Bob Arum. They settled out of court, and agreed that they was gonna work together to make some big fights happen. Which they have, not big fights. They work with John Molina and Felix Diaz versus Terence Crawford, but nothing major. But okay, you have Bob Arum, who's now moving one of his prized possessions being Terence Crawford, the other one probably being Vasily Lomachenko. With Crawford moving up to 147 pounds now, okay? He has nobody there but Konstantin Pulmar that I'm aware of that's in the top 15 and top ranking Bob Arum. They have nobody there. So why would Al Heyman, choose to work with Terence Crawford? You can give me a question. Why? When he can simply have the two champions that he got, Terence Crawford, Keith Thurman, fight each other and hold the belts. Of course the fighter's going to be ambitious and they feel they could beat Terence Crawford and unify and become undisputed champion. Of course they feel that way. But why not take the smarter approach, which he is the businessman that he is? For all the hell that Bob Arum have taken Al Heyman through ever since he got Floyd Mayweather in his possession and helped buy him out from Top Rank. Floyd Mayweather is one of the only few guys that I can remember that got away with Top Rank without having a long hiatus in a court litigation battle with Top Rank. Because Al Heyman understands how business works. He helped Floyd buy his way out of his contract, and he blew up after that. We know that. So he's a smart businessman. And we know that him and Bob Arum have disdain for each other. Bob Arum tried to come at him in PBC. He tried to come at Floyd Mayweather many times with Manny Pacquiao. Twisting up words and twisting perception between Floyd and Pacquiao, having people believe Floyd was always scared when he was the one that didn't want the Pacquiao fight. So why would Al Heyman gift this guy's fighter with an opportunity to fight one of his fighters on PBC, or have one of his fighters go over to Bob Arum on ESPN, possibly to get robbed? So why would he do this? This is a guy that he had been battling for 10, 15 years now in the sport of boxing. And quite frankly, Bob Arum is the HNIC right now. He head in charge. Not Bob Arum. Bob Arum, he ain't getting no amateur talents. He didn't get Crawford out the amateurs. He had Crawford later in his career. Crawford had 20 fights when he got with Bob Arum. So the point I'm getting is this, who we came up with earlier. Why? I'm going to tell you what Al Heyman's probably going to do. He's going to freeze out Terence Crawford. He's not going to let Terence Crawford fight any of his guys. And Terence Crawford is going to grow frustrated. He's going to be asking Bob to make these fights happen. And Bob probably don't want to make them fight happen anyway. But Al Heyman's going to be played hard to get, where he's going to try to probably have to make Bob Arum dig in his pocket to compensate Terence Crawford for some of these fights, unless Terence Crawford is really willing to fight for these fights for dirt cheap and to come over to PBC. So Al Heyman's probably going to get him a raw deal, and it's business. Now listen to me, it's business. Like why would I gift you with Errol Spence and Keith Thurman right now? Why? When I could just freeze Terence Crawford out and make him butt head with his promoter, because his promoter can't give him the fights he want to get him. So I could slide over to Terence Crawford, give him a ring, and say, look here, I know your promoter not getting you the fights you want to get. Look here, man, if you don't have the money, I can front you the money. I can get you out of that contract. Somehow Chavez Jr. got out his contract. You won't be put on the shelf like Mikey Garcia. You'll get out like Floyd. I tell you this, You know, you get out of that contract, I'll give you a fight with Errol Spence or Keith Thurman. The winner, I'll give you a fight with one of them guys. You know, we get you out the contract. You ain't got the money. I front you the money. You give me back on the back end. Whenever you can give me back the money we fronted you to get out of the top rank. Because you pretty much going to make it back fighting with me. You know? Common sense. So why would Al Haymon give Terence Crawford and Bob Arum with an opportunity at one of his prize fighters? And let's say Crawford goes and fights Spence and Thurman separately, beats them both. Now the board is in Bob Arum's possession. He has the guy with all the belts. You think Bob Arum is going to still work with Al Haymon to get him fair deals? Absolutely not. He's a snake. He going to keep them belts and have Crawford fighting mandatory after mandatory after mandatory. And when he get the mandatory after mandatory, he going to get him raw deals. So, basically, you guys are asking Al Haymon to give Bob Arum a shot at monopolizing and having the power over the welterweight division. He's not going to transfer the power from him to Bob Arum easily. Even if he wanted to do it. He will make Terence Crawford fight so many PBC tune-up fights. It'll be Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. He'll offer so many fights until somebody softens them up, exposes them, and then he'll put him in there where it's one of his top pawns. You know? It's business one-on-one. You know? Why would you gift this guy with a shot? Because if the fans want it? Well, the fans won't keep Thurman, Errol Spence. We ain't getting that right now. And those two PBC fighters with the same manager advisor being Al Haymon. So, it's business one-on-one. Period. You know, I don't expect Terence Crawford to get that shot, you know, unless he is willing to take a raw deal. And if he takes a raw deal or takes a deal over at PBC or ESPN somehow can put the money up, I still don't trust that Al Haymon is going to let his fighters go over to ESPN. He didn't even let Mikey Garcia, you know, fight Jorge Linares, even on PBC if they fronted the money. So what do you think? You think he's going to let Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, you know, fight Terence Crawford? Absolutely not. For Crawford to get that fight, he's going to have to be a free agent fighter who had to come over to PBC and get out of the top rank contract. And that's the conclusion that I came to. Now, it could happen in the ninth inning. You know, anything is possible, you know. But coming to that conclusion that Al Haymon controls 90% of the welterweight division, and maybe 95%, probably higher than that, and Crawford has no real dance partner, he's going to get frustrated. They can't maneuver guys to come up. They don't have anybody. Jesse Vargas is not top ranked no more. Timothy Bradley retired. They have Pacquiao, but after Pacquiao and Horn, and Pacquiao's not willing to fight Crawford unless they come up with $20 million. After Pacquiao and Horn, where does he go from there? Fighting WBO mandatories, and I'm pretty sure Al Haymon can send a goon over there to get ranked in the WBA real high, send a couple dollars, and get Sean Porter ranked in the WBO, get Danny ranked in the WBO. Easily, and get the fight with Crawford on ESPN. There's other ways around it, and I think that's what's going to happen. Let me know what y'all think. We gone.